community, but now let's get into the real reason we're here, shall we? Celebrating these graduates. Yeah. Welcome to the graduation of the class of 2022, the fourth graduating class of Quest Forward Academy Santa Rosa. There is an indigenous saying, if we do not initiate the children, they will burn the village down. Graduates, many of you recently became legal adults, and others among you will enjoy that distinction soon enough. Some of you have already gone through quinceañeras, bar and bat mitzvahs, and other cultural rites of passage, and have long considered yourself an adult. Others may still feel like kids. Whether you fancy yourself an adult yet or not, though, most of you grew up really quickly in this challenging world, integrating the ubiquity of modern technology and mass media, facing the weighty implications of growing up in the post-9/11 era, living with awareness of an unprecedented climate crisis, marked by record-breaking wildfires that have become commonplace right here in our own watershed and our own homes, and experiencing the COVID-19 pandemic, global war, a gun violence crisis, and social movements like Me Too and Black Lives Matter. But as grown up as you may already feel, there is something powerful and life-punctuating about graduating from high school. In our culture, which suffers deeply from a major deficiency in offering rites of passage and true initiation opportunities to young people, this moment, right now, is the closest thing we have to a community gathering that really welcomes you together into the tribe as adults and equals, and as guardians of your own light. We've always done and will always do our best to teach you and protect you, but you also now take your place at the helm of your own life. And from the moment we give you these diplomas back here, we shall stand beside you in a new way, and we will forever view you from a new angle, that as peers in adulthood. We all, from our ancestors and the elders and adults here, to Satya and all the other little young ones in the house, to the generations yet to come, live through our own unique challenges. And the elders can always say this to arriving generations, but graduates, I'll say this to you here now. On behalf of all the older people here, the world was not always like this. More than ever, we need capable leaders, critically thinking citizens, and the best possible version of yourself to rise up and shine, giving your fullest service, following your own guidance, and bringing forth your gifts. As most of you are aware, this last year and a half, I've been through my own very powerful initiation. Since my recent return to QFA from a prolonged medical leave and the rush of everything we've been doing to get ready for today, we haven't really had a container to drop in too deeply about it and the gifts that I found in the abyss this last year. But please allow me to say here right now that life is a gift. This moment is a gift. Every moment is a gift. And as much as these adults in your life love you and will always do their best to protect you, we also must eventually acknowledge that tomorrow is never guaranteed. Some 2,500 years ago, a sage named Gautama Buddha taught, of all footprints, that of the elephant is supreme. Of all mindfulness meditations, that on death is supreme. Many cultures refer to this notion as something like the angel of death, because as universal as the fear of death is, this inevitable visitor also comes with some amazing gifts for us. Brushes with mortality, such as losing a loved one, or dealing with a major disease, accident, trauma, or a near-death experience, can awaken us to the truth that our time in these bodies is finite. And it asks us, as the poet Mary Oliver did, what will you do with your one wild and precious life? I won't linger too long on the topic of death, as full as this day is with such life and light, but I will give pause on our shared mortality just long enough to inform our living actions with the awareness of the preciousness of life. This is a ceremony. And nerd alert, the word ceremony comes from the Latin ceremonia, holiness, sacredness, awe, reverent rite, sacred ritual, a word with an obscure origin referring to the ancient rites performed by Etruscan pontiffs, Max, at their holy site of Serre, near Rome. And just like the community gatherings practiced at Serre, we are all here together to share in a special, awesome moment, an ancient rite of passage. As young or as old as you may feel, internet babies, this is a day marking your adulthood. Welcome. had the joy of knowing you all since you were freshmen, or since you joined QFA. And with the exception of this year, I've been able to teach your social sciences classes here every year. And I'm here to tell you now that all your time in this community has been part of an elaborate plot to initiate you into becoming conscious, compassionate adults of integrity, service, and joy. All the kind and helpful pointers from this guy, all the laughs and hearty good mornings and good afternoons from this guy, all my talk of love and community and being warriors and following your heart, all our class debates and all the assignments and artifacts you ever did, our visit from Carl Wilkins, remember that guy, the man who didn't leave Rwanda during the 1994 genocide? Our trips to museums and forests in San Francisco, all the clubs we founded and the student council we made, the debate parties and school dance we organized, shout out school dance, and the art mandalas we created on this very land here just a couple years ago. Our conversations about consent and tea. Yeah, you remember that. About race and gender and police brutality, about workers' rights and climate science, all the modeling you've seen from all these mentors and staff on how to walk in this world as people of integrity, it's all been a part of your initiation. Max just mentioned an ancient phrase, one inscribed in the Temple of Apollo at Delphi and popularized by Socrates. Know thyself. You guys remember when we did that Know Thyself project your first weeks of freshman year? I remember that for a part of it you wrote your definitions of success. And I was struck then, just getting to know you, that ringing through virtually every sentence that you all wrote was this consciousness that success is not about money or fame or glory or eternal power, but about living a good life and being happy. This is your life to live and make great. Please, graduates, don't let anyone's expectations of you, or worse yet, anyone else's fears or put-downs, stop you from shining. President Theodore Roosevelt reminded us, it is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man or woman who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs and comes up short again and again, because there is no effort without error or shortcoming, but who actually does strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if she fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place, her place, shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. Steve Jobs, evoking both the angel of death and the themes we discussed in the Reason project we were doing, remember that, when we were working on it as the COVID pandemic began, old Stevie put it another way. Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Don't be trapped by dogma, which is living with the results of other people's thinking. Don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your own inner voice. And most important, have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. They somehow already know what you truly want to become. Everything else is secondary. Your time at Quest Forward Academy has encouraged you to hack your own education. Now, in the interest of your true success, I cordially invite you all to hack your life. In life, as in QFA, talk with your mentors and ask them for feedback, whomever they may be. In life, as in QFA, modify your artifacts, what you do with your work and what you produce in this world, to suit your skills and passions. Choose work that brings you bliss. As long as you communicate your needs and intentions and respect those around you, there will always be a way to make it work. You can choose to glide, to skate, to take flight, to soar. You all have different definitions of success anyway. It's up to you where and in what matter you choose to captain your vessel. In life, as in QFA, grow your skills and assess them often, maybe too often. And pay more attention to learning than to knowledge. As my brother Max over here likes to put it, I have more knowledge in the phone in my pocket than most generations of geniuses could have accessed in their wildest dreams. Knowledge is cheap and plentiful, and you can find it everywhere. Every clown on the corner's got knowledge. The question isn't what stuff you know, it's what you do with it. how you improve along the way and become the best version of yourself. And finally, in life, as in QFA, habits matter. Be curious, manage yourself, live an integrated life. These aren't just words on a poster or icebreaker prompts and advisory. Okay? You're blessed to have been a part of this academy, to be a part of this educational community that puts these habits first rather than beating you with textbooks and measuring your regurgitation skills. Let good habits continue to support your growth, for the habits we practice today become the people we are tomorrow. As the Greek philosopher Plutarch put it, character is simply habit long continued. We spent many days in the classroom together, from cutthroat rounds of fantasy geopolitics to our scrutiny of news headlines and philosophical debates, discussing the vast history and the current state of our world. So the last thing that I'll remind you here today, maybe second to last, is that of all those things that happen in the news, all the accomplishments of people who have made throughout history, all the great art and literature and movies and games we've ever appreciated, all the great feats of science and technology and mathematics and engineering and statecraft and diplomacy we've ever studied, they all share one thing in common. They were the achievements of people just like you. The very unrest and teenage angst that each one of you has experienced, the itchy feet that are driving many of you to seek out far-off lands, the moral indignation, the civic outrage and thirst for justice compelling so much of us to speak up and change the world, your inevitable instinct to be unique and individuate from your parents and caregivers and stretch out beyond their shadows. It's the very same angst that has produced all the world's great feats of science and engineering, revolutionary works of art and philosophy, industry-disrupting businesses and companies, and advances in human liberty and equity. People just like you, all of you. And lest you think I'm trying to steer you down a specific path, I want to say greatness does not necessarily mean being a person written about in a history book, or being a billionaire tech mogul, or a verified influencer on whatever platform comes next. Greatness is about living a life of meaning and connection. It's about being your truest self, being of service to those around you, and letting your unique light shine. And as you stand up today and walk across this stage in just a moment, you acknowledge that you are the guardian of this light. You are the steward of your own life, the protector of your own joy. As one of my great mentors taught me, we cross this sea of life with two equally important paddles. They're called love and humor. Use them in equal measure. One paddle of love, one paddle of humor. Two paddles of love, two paddles of humor, right? That's how we stay balanced and move forward and avoid spinning in circles. Too much love and not enough humor, we become too serious. Too much humor, not enough love, our lives become meaningless. Love, love, humor, humor. Keep paddling. And finally, in the words of the bard, this above all, to thine own self be true. Class of 2022, we all congratulate you on this rite of passage. Welcome. What do you say?
Thank you. Thank you for the warm welcome. Graduating class, I share with you a few words as you begin this new chapter in your lives.
Have your eye on the goal, but then let it all go. For everything changes, as you will come to know. Every plan you make and every seed you sow is impermanent. Nothing is ever yours to own. Once you realize this, oh, you will see the truth that you never were the planter of your own fruits. But accept these gifts, even if you don't know from who, and kindly pay it forward to those behind you. Cause ultimately, what we take will always disappear, but what we give will live on for years. So keep giving of your stuff and yourself until your ego has completely melted. Be wary of the impact you want to make. Instead, make sure you are impacted each day. Have your eye on the sky, but still see the ants. For the small things are the foundation of all that will last. We will